So let's go ahead and see where fringes came about. Let's go to the 15th chapter of Numbers. The 15th chapter of Numbers. And we're going to find out about this. All right, I'm going to start reading at verse 32. The 15th chapter of Numbers, starting reading at verse 32, and it says, "And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day." Now, you're not supposed to do any type of work or anything on the Sabbath day. Okay? So, verse 33, "And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done with him." They put him in jail. They didn't know what to do with this war because, nobody ever broke the law like this and nobody caught anybody breaking the law like this. "And the Lord said unto Moses, the man should surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregations brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died in the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes on the borders of their garment throughout their generations." This is one thing that captures a lot of people. Throughout their generations. It didn't say throughout all generations. It said throughout their generations. Okay? And that they put upon the fringe the border of a ribbon of blue, and they shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord. Catch this part right here. Okay, I'm going to read this again. "And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and to do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and with your own eyes, after which ye use to go whoring." Now, Israel always have been depicted as the whorish woman because, Israel always went out to see other gods, and therefore that's the reason why Israel's in the condition that they're in now. Okay? So, we see the reason why he told them to put fringes on and a cord of blue. Why? Because of sin. Sin is what made this thing happen, because sin is what? Transgression of the law, according to 1 John, the 3rd chapter and the fourth verse. So, why don't we wear fringes? Because it did say throughout their generations. It's their generations. Okay? Now let's go ahead and find out something here. Okay? We know, some people say, well, this is the fringes is our culture. This can't be our culture. How come our culture is something that is born out of sin? That's not our culture. The law is our culture because he gave us the law just like it is. Okay? So that's the culture. Fringes are not a culture. People want to subscribe that it is. Let me show you where that whole situation changed up with. Follow me to Jeremiah. Book of Jeremiah. And I'm going to pick it up at verse 31. Jeremiah 31, chapter 31, verse 31. Jeremiah 31st chapter and verse 31. It says, "Behold, the days, said the Lord, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenants that in the day that I took them out by the hand and brought them out of the land of Egypt. So that is when he gave you the fringes, because he just took you out of the land of Egypt at that time, Israel. Okay? Now check this out. Which my covenant they break, although I was a husband to them, said the Lord. So what happened? They had the fringes on to remind them not to break the law, to remind them don't sin against God. So it just said that he broke. So they took the fringes off and laid it across the chair so they can go ahead and sin. They did what they wanted to do. So you got to understand all the things that happened. The fringes was the first sanction that happened before because of sin, because before even animal sacrifice started, the fringes were there. People don't understand that, because God had to go ahead and say, "Hey, wages of sin is death." Right? Something got to die when you sin. So in this situation, the boy died. He was stoned. But God was like, well, I got too many people here. Every time somebody sins, so if they die because of sin, they ain't going to have nobody left, right? So something got to die. So he gave us animal sacrifice. The Levites, who's going to give, who are the ones who perform the animal sacrifice, they took the blood of the sacrifice, sprinkled it against the veil 7 times for a sin offering. Then every atonement, they did a sin offering for the nation. They sprinkled it 7 times on the mercy seat. Yeah, they went beyond the veil. For those who think that when the veil is ripped from top to bottom, that was just access into the holies of holies. No, they go into the holies of holies every year. So, what was the reason for that? So that killed animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice was going on even in Jesus' day until he went on and died, and he became the last sacrifice. So, verse 33. Check this out. This is what he replaced the fringes with. This is what he replaced having the law on your eyelids with. This is what he replaced putting the law on your doorposts with, or putting it on your city gates with, because this is all he told you. I want you to be reminded, don't break the law. So put the law everywhere where you go. So this is what he did to change that whole thing around. Jeremiah 31, verse 33. But this shall be the covenant. Covenant, this is an agreement, okay? Or testimony. That's another word. That I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. I will put my law in their where? Inward parts. And write it in their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So he went on and put this in our inward parts, and we will be his people, and he will be our God. Well, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses is a fact established. Just go ahead and see something, because we want to see how that whole thing happened. Let's go to Hebrews. Because, some people just don't have the understanding about what he's doing. Because he made sure that we would know that it's on the inward part of us. Let's see. Is it the 2nd chapter or the 8th chapter? Let me go ahead and make sure, because I don't like messing up, but I think I just messed up. It's in Hebrew. Oh, there it is. It's the 8th chapter. Okay, the 8th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 9 here. I'm going to pick it up at verse 8. I'm going to pick it up at verse 8. Uh-huh. So this is what's going on. Oh, I'm going to even go back a little bit further. I'm going to read verse 7. Verse 7, for if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place be sought for the second. The second covenant was the one that you just read. He said he's going to put in our inward parts. Okay? Verse 8, for finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, said the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Didn't we just read that? Okay, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant. Okay? And I regarded them not, said the Lord. For this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. I will put my law in their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be unto them a God, and they shall be unto me a people. So, we see right now that he went on and made sure that we knew that this new covenant, after Christ went on and did something, I'm going to show you what he did in a few, had changed up the whole demographic of what's going on. We don't have to wear a fringe. We don't have to wear a cord of blue. It is not your culture. It does not show that, oh, I am of the seed of the promise. No, it does not show that. It shows that you are ignorant. Wow. Ignorant meaning, not ignorant meaning in a derogatory way, meaning that you just don't know. And I want people to have this understanding, because I want people to know what it means to be under this new covenant. Let's go ahead and check something else out. Let's go ahead and stay in the same book of Hebrews. We're going to show you what Jesus did to bring about this covenant. Okay? Because I told you that the fringes and the cord of blue was first. And then he gave you the then he gave you the animal sacrifice. The cord of blue and the fringes were first, because that was the first time they seen somebody sinning and said, hey, what we gonna do with them? Now you got animal sacrifice to go ahead and take the place of somebody getting killed every time. So, Hebrews, the 10th chapter, I'm going to see how he did this. Hebrews 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. It says, for the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of those things, could never, with those sacrifices they offered year by year continually, make the comers thereunto perfect. So we have to go ahead and think about it. If he wants us to be perfect, what's the only thing perfect we know of? Anybody? God is perfect. But he just denoted that something is going to make us perfect. We want to know what's that whole thing about. We have to understand that being perfect is being what he created us to be. Somebody said, well, we were created to worship. I mean, yeah. But God doesn't need our worship. He don't need it, because he's all powerful, all knowing. He can have a tree worship. He don't need it from us. But we worship him because of adoration. We worship him because of who he is to us. We have that intimate relationship with him because we know that he is the God of our salvation. Now, but Something has to make us perfect. We found out that the sacrifices that they made year by year continually can't make you perfect. So I'm going to skip down to verse 4. For it's not possible for the bloods of bulls and of goats should take away sin. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he said, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. Okay? Skipping down to verse 8. Above, when he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offerings for sin, thou wouldest not, neither had pleasure therein, which is offered by what? The law. The law of animal sacrifice. Okay? Not the royal law. The royal law says, thou shalt not have no other God before me. Thou shalt not take my name in vain. Thou shalt not, he said, what else he say? Don't make any graven images. Then he turned around and said, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. And then it says, honor your parents. Don't kill nobody. Don't steal nothing from nobody. Don't covet or lust after somebody else's stuff. Don't bear false witness. That's the royal law. Don't commit adultery. But he ain't talking about that law. He's talking about the law of animal sacrifice. Now, this is how he did this. Remember when I told you the first covenant? He went on and put fringes on you so you can go ahead and be reminded not to sin against him. But we messed that up because we put the fringes on the side of our bed and went on and did it and went on about our business, not doing anything concerning God. So here's where it's at. Verse 9. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O God. He taketh away the first. Now he taketh away the first. What? The first covenant. That he may establish the second. The second covenant. Okay? Oh, nobody ever reads like this, don't they? By the which we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. He's only going to die for us one time. Because if it had not been that way, he would have to come here every year and die just the same way every year. But he only died one time for everyone. And he brokered in the second covenant. What's the second covenant? He put it here. Most of all, he put it right here. Because, when you go to the grocery store and you see that apple and you're hungry and you ain't got no money and you want to just go ahead and say, well, I can eat this while walking through the grocery store. Thou shalt not what? Steal. Brothers, you can go ahead and attest this with me. When you go ahead and walk through Walmart and you see that what Michael Jackson called it, pretty young thing. PYT. You go down there and see that, you just go ahead and avert your eyes. My daddy told me just look at the shoes. Because thou shalt not covet, and therefore you will not commit adultery. That's right. Okay? Where is the law now? Where is it? It's here. That's right. In your heart. Do I have to go ahead and have something remind me? No, because he already brokered the second what? Covenant. All right. Give God a hand praise. Amen. All right. I want to go ahead and have a little bit of praise and worship. No, you can keep it on. We can keep it on. Have a little bit of praise and worship. And I don't know where my drummer at. Jehovah, we praise you. Jehovah, we praise you. We lift our hands. We lift our hands. Jehovah, we praise you. Sing with me, y'all. Jehovah, we praise you. Jehovah, we praise you. We lift our hands. We lift our hands. Jehovah, we praise you. Now, God, accept our worship, so we welcome into this place. Lord, you are welcome into this broken vessel. You desire to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands as we lift our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto your name. Lord, you are welcome into this place. Welcome into this broken vessel. You desire to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift your hands, everybody. Come on and worship him, everyone. As we live, 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 our hands, as we live, our hearts, as we live, our hands, as we live, our hearts, as we live, our hands, as we live, our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto your name, your name, as we offer up this praise unto your name. Ooh, as we offer up this praise unto your name. Hallelujah! 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 Bless the name of the Lord. Bless the name of the Lord. Glory to your name, Lord Jesus. My God is big, so strong and mighty, and His friend for me is victory, victory, victory. My God is big, so strong and mighty, and His plan for me My God is big, so strong and mighty, and His plan for me is victory, victory, victory. My God is big.
Come on and sing it with us. So strong and mighty.
And mighty.
Yes.
And His plan for me is victory, victory, victory. Here we go. There's nothing my God cannot do. There's nothing my God cannot do.
There's nothing my God cannot do.
Nothing my God cannot do.
Nothing my God cannot do.
There's nothing my God cannot do.
Nothing my God cannot do.
Nothing my God cannot do.
There's 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 nothing my God
Put your
cannot
hands. Clap your hands. I dare you to get on your feet right now and give God some praise. Victory, I got it.
I thank God I got it. Everybody. Victory, I got it. I thank God I got it. Victory, I got it. I thank God I got it. Victory, I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got
I
it.
got it, yes.
I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it.
Victory is mine.
Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I told Satan. Get me behind. Victory today is mine. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. We have the victory. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Satan has got to flee.
I got it.
I got it. I thank God I got it. You have it. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it. I got it. I thank God I got it.
My God
All right.
is big.
So strong and mighty, and His plan for me is victory, victory, victory.
My God
My
is
God, everybody, is big, so strong and mighty, and His plan for me
is victory.
is victory. Woo! There's nothing
my God
cannot do. My God. There's nothing my God cannot do. Nothing my God cannot do. There's nothing my God cannot do. Nothing my God cannot do. There's nothing my God cannot do. There's nothing my God cannot do. Can you say it? Just say it. There's nothing my God cannot do.
Just sing it. Just sing it. Talk to him.
There's nothing my God cannot do. My God. There's nothing my God cannot do.
In the name of Jesus.
Woo! Hallelujah!
In the name of Jesus.
Hallelujah!
We have the victory. Oh, in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Satan has got to flee. Oh, tell me who can stand before us when we call that great name. The name of Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, we have the victory.
Hallelujah!
I gotta do that again. Oh, tell me who can stand before us when we call on that great name. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, we have the victory. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We bless your name, God. We bless your name, Jesus. We bless your name, God.
Glory to the name of the Lord Jesus. 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 Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Bless the name of the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Bless the
Glory
name.
to the name of the Lord Jesus.
Bless the name
Woo!
of the Lord.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Bless the name
Hallelujah.
of the Lord.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Glory to your name. Glory to your name. Glory to your name.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
You may have your seat in the presence of the Lord.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Come on, Brother Tim. I want to go right into this. Oh, man, God. I want to go right into this. It's just a perfect time to go right into this. Tell me who can stand before us when we call on that name. His name is Jesus. Jesus. Precious Jesus. We have the victory. That's a perfect segue of what's going on. Want to go ahead and get right into this thing here. And if everyone will follow me, we're going to the book of Genesis. Going to the book of Genesis. And if we all can stand as we go to the book of Genesis, we're going to stand and we're going to read this together. All right. And I'm still we're going to Genesis, the 29th chapter. I'm sorry. We're not starting, but we're in our teaching series that we have called The Big Reveal. The Big Reveal. So if you would, they switched up on me. They switched up on me. Have your seat in the presence of the Lord. They switched up on me. It's hard to play the game when someone keeps changing the rules. Equality can only happen when the starting line is the same for everyone. And also the expectations do not shift. Now, this is for the parents. There's a book I want to introduce to you. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind by Greg Lochnoff and Jonathan Haidt. This book highlights how good intentions and bad ideas are setting up a generation for failure. And Dr. Ward, just for can you take the children back or children's church, please? Come on, children, you're dismissed, so you can go in children's church. I just noticed that because I don't want them to be sitting up here and be like, oh, I'm sleepy. Because this is one of those lessons, okay? The author shows how the requirements, even to first grade, had changed in just one generation. Prior to 1988, there existed a checklist of requirements for a child who would start primary school. In order for your child to start the first grade prior to 1988, number one, they must be at least 6.5 years old. Number two, they must have 3 to 5 permanent teeth. This is so you can get in primary school, okay? Number three, they must be able to speak audibly enough for the police and the crossing guards to understand their speech. Number four, the child must have the capacity to draw within lines. This is so they can start first grade now, okay? Number five, the child has to be able to tell and discern the left from the right. Number six, the child has to be able to be away from their parents without becoming upset. This is the requirement for first grade. Number seven, they have to be able to repeat 8 to 10 word sentences. Not to try to go ahead and write them, but to repeat them. Number 8, they must be able to count 10 pennies correctly. 10 pennies need to be counted correctly. Number 9, they must have the ability to copy letters. But by today's standard, after the No Child Left Behind Act, a first grader has a whole nother set of rules. And the way I look at it, I go through these rules that they have on the No Child Left Behind Act, I'll be considered ADD, or I'll have an IEP compared to these rules now, because they switched it up. Okay? Number 1, they must be able to identify and count numbers all the way up to 100, whereas before it was counting to 10. They have to be able to count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. They must be able to read books with 5 to 10 words per page and be able to perform complete sentences on paper using phonetic spelling. This is a requirement of a first grader nowadays. In days gone by, kindergarten was considered to be the place for interaction with hands-on exploration. So the kindergarten class had the pretend store and had the pretend kitchen. They had to sit in a semicircle in Indian style and do finger paints and learn a few songs and learn the alphabet. But by today's standards, that is not good enough going to the first grade. Because first graders are now expected to be able to sit in a structured environment at a desk for an extended amount of time and only raise their hand just to relieve themselves. Otherwise, they're called destructive. So that's the reason why I say I would be ADD, or I will have an IEP and give the pharmaceutical companies a reason to pump me up with pills such as Ritalin. I have an acronym for ADHD. It's absent dad from home disorder. because, that whole situation there is not what people think it is. ADD didn't exist back when I was growing up. ADD just happened just here in this recent change of generation. So by the first grade, they have not made any real friends because, socialism has taken away. They don't have arts or music class. So there's an obvious surge of non-emotional and a disadvantaged social development effects, to the point that they recently, check this out, I have 11-year-olds cutting themselves now. I read an article where it was a 7-year-old who was hanging from their light and hung themselves because they felt like they want to just give it up and killed themselves. I got 14-year-olds strangely having identity crisis, having a conflict in their own mind if they're a girl or a boy. This has happened because nobody is tapping into socialism and teaching our children social activities, and they're more so worried about the test and how, things are going to work out that way. So this all plays out and sets the stage for emotional dysfunction. You see how they switched up on you? They switched up on you just like that. So in this lesson, I'm going to use the Bible as well as history to show without a doubt how another switch happened. How a set of twins was switched. And we're going to find out what the true meaning of identity theft is. Leaving our father's seed without any indication as to who we are or whose we are. We're going to find out they switched up on me. Amen? All right. I'd like to go ahead and really get your mind trained into switching things and also illuminating different things that's going on in our society for you so you can know what we're up against. We're not up against, somebody, coming up, making people do things. We're up against principalities that is making situations happen. It's the powers that be. Amen. They switched up on you. And we don't want to be a part of that. We have to be able to understand who we are and who we are, because we are the very elect. Amen. Let's start this thing off. We're going to go ahead and show you. We're going to start off with the whole thing with Isaac. Not Isaac. Well, it is Isaac. He had his sons, Jacob and Esau. What we're going to see about this, a lot of people say, well, Jacob went on and stole the birthright. Right. Jacob didn't steal no birthright. Let's find out what actually happened. Genesis, the 25th chapter, we're going to. We're going to see this thing right now. Genesis 25, and I'm so glad we have our reader for today. Our reader for today is none other than Brother Tim Arnold. I got some work in for him. I got the history books up here. All right. Genesis 25, and we're going to pick it up at verse 19. Genesis 25 and verse 19. When you have it, brother, go ahead and read.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son.
Yes.
Abraham begot Isaac.
Yes.
And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. The daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Panaram.
Now look, Bethuel, he was Hebrew. Somebody said he's an Israelite. No, he can't be an Israelite because Israel wasn't born yet. Okay? He was Hebrew. He was of the seed of Shem, not the seed of Ham. Okay? Continue on to read.
The sister to Laban the Syrian.
And
Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
Because of what?
Because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
So he went on and prayed to the Lord. Said, hey, my wife ain't having no kids. I need some kids. Continue on to read, man.
And the children struggled together within her.
Yes.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Let me go ahead and let you know something. That everyone that before the whole situation of the Exodus, everybody can be able to communicate with God. He dwelled among men. So Rebekah went on and asked of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Yes.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 nations. Keep reading.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other. And the elder shall serve the younger.
And the elder shall serve the younger. Rebekah knew this because the Lord told it to her. Continue on to read.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins within her womb.
There was twins within her womb. Keep on reading.
And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment.
Yes.
And they called his name Esau.
Yes.
And after that came his brother. Out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
He was grabbing on Esau's heel, saying, nah, you ain't getting away from me. Continue on to read.
And his name was called Jacob.
And his name was called Jacob. So now we got Esau. Esau, they describe what Esau looked like, right? Why did they describe what Esau looked like? Because he looked different. He was red and hairy. Okay? But then Jacob, he came out looking like me. He didn't have no fuzzy face, but he had my complexion. That was normal. All right? Continue on to read.
And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
So she was 60 years old. Verse 27.
And the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter.
Yes.
And a man of the field.
Yes.
And Jacob was a plainman, dwelling in tents.
Yes. 28.
And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison.
So Isaac went on to love Esau because, he can go kill that deer and dress the deer up, and, he liked that. Yeah, that's what he liked. I mean, that's a reason to like a son. Continue on to read.
But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sought porridge, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
Yes. Check this whole story out. Read.
And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red porridge, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Look, the man said, I was out and I was hunting for 1 day, and I'm going to die if I don't get nothing to eat from you. 1 day? Man, this man, I guess that porridge or that soup had to be real good for him to be begging like that. Continue on to read.
And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright.
Oh, so sell me this day thy birthright. Keep that in mind. He said, sell me this day thy birthright. And what did Esau say?
And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die.
He said, I'm at the point to die after 1 day. Continue on to read.
And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
He sold his birthright unto Jacob. Okay? Continue on to read.
Then Jacob gave Esau bread and porridge of lentils. And he did eat and drink. And rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Esau, he got a new name called Edom. All right? Edom, because he was hungry, he wanted that red soup. Okay? He liked that stew, didn't he? I'm going to tell you something. Knowledge is the foundation of everything. Why did I say that? The reason why I say knowledge is the foundation of everything is because of this. Without knowledge or know-how, the world would not even be created. He created the world because he knew how to create the world. Somebody asked me, well, I asked somebody on the chat line, why does God live forever? He lives forever because he knows how. Knowledge is everything. All right? So it's important to know who one is among other people. This is not a lesson over racism. I'm not trying to denote racism at all. I'm just trying to let you know who's who. The people that are in the land right now, they cannot be Israelites. How do I know that? They don't even call themselves Israelites. They call themselves Jews. There is a specific reason for that, and we're going to investigate that today. We've seen how Esau and Jacob was reared up, and Esau sold his birthright to his brother. So much for somebody saying, well, Jacob stole it. Oh, we're going to see how this thing works out. I'm so glad to see my brothers in the house. You know, I love seeing the brothers in the house. Let's go to Genesis, the 27th chapter. Genesis 27, and we're going to read right here. It's picking up at verse 1. Genesis 27, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here I am.
Look here. God had his hand in this whole thing. How do I know that? How come Isaac became blind? We're going to see why. Continue on to read.
And he said, behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death.
Keep reading.
Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow. And go out to the field and take me up some venison.
So that's the reason why he loved Esau, because he can make that good venison. That's that good deer meat. But we're going to find out that, you know, deer meat and goat meat pretty much ain't too much different, because I guess it's the same seasoning or something. We're going to find out. Go ahead and read.
And make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau, his son.
Now Rebekah, she already known what God had told her. It says that the elders is going to serve the younger. And she already known about the ordeal that they had already, where Esau sold his birthright. She known everything. Now, keep on reading.
And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison. And to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Lord before my death.
Keep reading.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock and fetch me thence 2 good kids of goats. And I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death.
Now look, now you're going around here, and Jacob was saying, hey, you know, you trying to get me to get over on this man? I was scared of my daddy too. All right. But now you got Jacob, he's sitting up there, he brought up the argument. I ain't like Esau. I don't smell like the cat. I don't feel like the cat. And you know, I got smooth skin. But then Rebekah said, hey, let the curse be upon me. Continue on to read. We're going to find that out.
And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man,
Yes.
and I am a smooth man.
Yes.
My father peradventure will fill me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver.
Yes.
And I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing.
And what did Rebekah say?
And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Obey my voice and go fetch me them.
Yes. Keep on reading.
And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved.
So Rebekah knew how to cook for Esau too. You know, it's not just Rebekah knew how to cook for Isaac. Esau, he probably got his cooking skills from his mama. Go ahead and read.
And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son.
Keep on reading, man.
And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob.
Keep on reading.
And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn.
He went on and obeyed his mama and told his daddy he's Esau. Continue on to read.
I have done according to as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may be blessed. And Isaac said unto his son, How is that thou hast found it so quickly, my son?
So we see the difference between domestic animals and hunting for some animals here. Because them goats was domesticated. They was outside in the yard. Go ahead and read.
And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou beest my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father.
And what did he do?
And he felt him. And said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau.
So, you know, he had to go ahead and do the smell test and the feel test. What else he going to do? Keep on, come on, Isaac, keep on testing him.
And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him.
Okay, so Esau got out of the blessing because he was trying to go ahead and get his daddy's deer and make the deer up. They had enough time to go ahead and get the goat, dress the goat, kill the goat, make the goat up, make everything, make his plate just right. Put on the raiment, make him smell like Esau, because, you know, he had to pass the smell test, the feel test, because the sight test ain't there. He didn't pass the hearing test because his daddy heard, oh, this is Jacob's voice. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right. Continue on to read.
And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank.
And what did verse 26 say?
And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment.
Didn't I tell you that? Continue on.
And blessed him. And said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore, God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine.
29.
Let people serve thee. And nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren. And let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee.
Yes.
And blessed be he that blesseth thee.
Keep on reading, man.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob,
Yes.
and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father,
he just left,
that Esau his brother came in from his hunting.
Yes, and what happened?
And he also had made savory meat,
Uh-huh.
and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let thy father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thou may bless me.
Now, he's already full, but right now he's confused. He's bewildered. What did Isaac say?
And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou?
Uh-huh.
And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau.
Yes.
And Isaac trembled very exceedingly.
So he was like, oh man, 2 out of 3 got me in trouble. Continue on to read.
And said, Brought it to me, and I have eaten of all before thou camest.
Yes.
And have blessed him, yea, and he should be blessed.
And he shall be blessed. He already blessed Jacob. And he couldn't take the blessing back. Continue on to read.
And when Esau heard the words of his father,
yes,
he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry.
Yes.
And said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O father.
Yes.
And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety and
subtlety. Subtlety. He was subtle with it.
And hath taken away thy blessing.
Verse 36.
And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me 2 times.
2 times.
He took away my birthright.
And
behold, he hath taken away my blessing.
So look here. He said, you got me 2 times. No, you sold your birthright. And if you sold your birthright, you also sold the blessing that came along with the birthright. Esau hated Jacob since then. And that stuff ain't stopped yet.
Come on.
Skip down to verse 39.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Yes.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Now this is the blessing to Esau. Keep on reading.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And he still do that today because he's the one who made those nuclear bombs. Right. Yeah, you thought it was a German physicist by the name of Albert Einstein. Do you know that he is actually a Jewish guy? Oh, he is. Continue on to read.
And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy back. Off thy neck.
So this is what's going on with Esau. And then you see what's going on. You know what happened in the beginning. You can understand what's going on now. Continue on to read.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing.
Yes.
Wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
He said, my daddy getting ready to die. After my dad died, and we go ahead and finish all our mourning and everything, I'm going to kill Jacob. Because he took from me. He just didn't remember that you gave it away. You sold it, Jack. Where we at?
42.
Go ahead and read.
And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee.
So she gonna go ahead and send Jacob to Laban, her brother. He's supposed to be down there just for a little bit, but he ended up being down there for 20 years. Go ahead and read.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran. And tarry with him a few days.
He did that 20 years, not a few days. Continue on to read.
Until thy brother's fury turn away.
Yes.
Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee. And he forget that which thou hast done to him.
He ain't forgot.
Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day?
Why should I be deprived of both of my kids in one day? That's what she is saying. So the fatness is the wealth. Do you understand that Esau has the fatness? Because he was blessed that way. He has the fatness. All right? In a few days, actually, like I told you, it'll turn to 20 years. But let's go ahead. We're going to skip forward right now. We're going to see how all of Jacob's kids end up being where they are. How did we end up being here? I will explain a whole lot more in our Black history come February, but I want to go ahead and start this right now, just letting you know what happened with Jacob's kids. Okay? Let's go to Exodus, the first chapter. We're going to do a lot of reading here today. I hope that you all brought your attention and your patience, because we're going to get through this. I'm so glad that the climate control in here is real nice. You know, nobody's too cold. When you get too cold, you get sleepy, right? All right. Exodus, the first chapter. Pick it up on the first verse. Read.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob.
Yes.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah.
Yes. Issachar,
Zebulun, and Benjamin.
Yes.
Dan, Naphtali,
Naphtali,
Gad, and Asher.